pre-show. Hi there, smart drivers. Skills, abilities, and techniques you need to be successful on passing your driver's test first time. That's what we're talking about today. We'll give you all that information so you can be successful in passing your driver's test. A few people are here already. P and friends. Hello, my friend. Skylar, I am a driving instructor. I just don't do in-car stuff. Corey is here. Bricks for Wheels. Corey is the moderator. Does an excellent job of getting up the videos I suggest you have a look at for more information. And of course, that's not working. There we go. Perfect. Mallory's here. Hello, Mallory. Dawn is tuning in. Hello. If you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what class of license you're going for. Sean is tuning in from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Colton is here. He says it's 34 degrees Celsius, which is about, 82 degrees Fahrenheit in Arkansas, and the humidity is 52, which is pleasant. And Dawn is tuning in from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Hello, hello, hello. So Skylar, no, I can't. I don't do in-car lessons. I got enough work here on online, helping people out and doing courses and whatnot. But we can help you out with information that you have the correct information to pass your driver's test first time. The skills and abilities across all states are more or less the same. There are some minor differences, but for the most part, it is the same. The other day I was asking on the community tab, how far do you signal from your intended turn or change of direction? And of course, people are like, it's 100 feet. It's different in every state. No, it's not different in every state. It's approximately 100 feet. But I mean, 100 feet is like saying how long is a piece of string, because you can't measure distance in a moving vehicle. You don't know how far 100 feet is. 100 feet is approximately half a block, half a city block. And the easier way to do that, if you're a learning driver, when to signal for turns, is 6 to 8 flashes on your signal. You want 3 flashes minimum. The reason you want 3 flashes minimum, the first flash gets the other road user's attention. The second flash allows them to locate you, because they need to figure out where you are on the roadway. And then the third flash allows them to take some sort of action, whether they're going to speed up and pass you if you're changing lanes, or they're going to drop back and create space for you and help you out. That's what we're doing when we're driving. So know that signals, 6 to 8 flashes is ideal in communicating your intent. The same thing when you're changing lanes for the purposes of a driver's test. Before you move from one lane to the other or start moving, minimum 3 flashes. So lane changes, mirror signal, shoulder check, shoulder checking, looking ahead, look again if this way is clear, then move over to the other lane. Little bit of acceleration, not a lot of acceleration, because you're moving diagonally. So therefore you have to compensate for that increased distance from one lane to the other and leave your signal on until you're completely in the other lane. That is the correct way to do it for the purposes of passing your driver's test first time and keeping yourself safe after you get your license, because one of the cornerstones of the smarter defensive driving is communication. You need to communicate effectively with other traffic. Elevator fan tuning in from Lafayette, Indiana, and Rawson is here from Ohio, and I'm hoping to get to Ohio this summer on a trek that I'm doing across the northern United States. Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio and Michigan. So I'm going to shoot videos in those states. So if there's anybody here on the channel, anybody watching on the replay that wants to have a specific video for their state, let me know and I will plan that. I'm doing that last week of July, first week of August. So I will be in those 10 states. Corey's put up the video on how to change lanes. Thank you for that, Corey. And I'm also working on the video for when to signal and how to signal correctly for the purposes of both passing a driver's test and keeping yourself safe after you get your license. Because as we know, one of the components of social driving is not signaling, failing to communicate effectively with other traffic when you're driving. It's not a matter of if people aren't going to signal, it's a matter of when they're not going to signal, and it's almost every day, especially when changing lanes. So have a look at all of that. The way that it works here is 10 to 12 minute presentation, and then we'll come back, we'll spend the remainder of the hour answering your questions, helping you to pass first time. What else? become a safer, smarter driver, or start a career as a truck or bus driver. We can help you with all of that. Colton, 34 degrees Celsius is roughly 97 Fahrenheit. Really? That seems really high. That's like 100 degrees. Had to consult the TV for that. It's hot. 34 degrees. Are you sure? I don't think so, Colton. That just seems really... I think 40 is more like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But anyway, Rawson, when I was doing driver lessons for a road test, I did watch the video with Gavin. Mostly awesome. And yes, those are really great. Corey will put up those videos for you as well. The videos I did teaching Gavin how to drive, and they're here on the channel as well. Look at the ones with REL. So all of that will help you out. So we'll get over to the presentation here. We'll get through that, and then we'll come back. We'll spend the remainder of the hour answering your questions. So today, talking about how to pass a driver's test and be successful first time. There's 4 components you need for any driver's test, regardless of what state you're in, what province you're in here in Canada. You need space management. If you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. Speed management, posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. Communication, you need to communicate effectively with other traffic, and the position of your vehicle on the roadway is the number one way that drivers and road users communicate with other traffic. And then observation, you need to observe correctly, and you need to drive defensively when moving in and towards intersections, because know that 40% of crashes happen at intersections. It's the place where you are most likely to encounter vulnerable road users. So, for those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s, hauled freight between Ontario, Canada, and the United States. 2006, graduated from the University of Melbourne with my doctorate in legal history. Legal history is the study of policing, courts, and prisons. While I was going to university, I drove buses for Greyhound and one of the regional bus lines there in Australia. 2015, I started the online YouTube channel and the business here, and I think Corey has been around for most of that. Corey has been here, since 2016, Corey, when you got your license? So Corey's been with Smart Drive Test almost as long as I've been doing the YouTube channel. So if you want to know more about me, the online business, you can check out the autobiography over at the Smart Drive Test channel there. Of course. Sorry about this. My apologies. There we go. I got it working. Videos to have a look at for passing your driver's test first time. And I don't know why this is not working for me today. There we go. Okay, 10 unexpected events, and Corey, you can just put up the playlist for must-see videos, okay? 10 chance driving events, unexpected events that are going to happen on a driving test. All right, so those are yellow lights, emergency vehicles, big, large vehicles blocking your way and you have to move around them, crashes, those types of things. So have a look at that video. And as well, automatic fails. There's 2 ways you can fail your driver's test. One is minor errors, which is you're assigned demerit points. If most driver's test is 35 demerit points, you're assigned 5 points for minor errors and 10 to 15 points for major errors. So know that you're going to demerit out, and as well, then there's automatic fails. So not stopping for an emergency vehicle, for example, is an automatic fail. So have a look at that video. The first thing you need to do to get your driver's license and to practice is pass a knowledge test. You need to get your learner's license. A learner's license allows you to drive the car with a mentor or a driving instructor. The knowledge test usually consists of 50 questions, of which you have to get 40 right. Signs, signals, and road markings. There's going to be terminology such as complex intersections, painted islands, slip lanes, those types of things. So have a look at your handbook. Have a look at practice test questions here on the internet. When you're getting 80 to 90% on those practice driving tests on the internet, then you're probably ready to go in and write your test and be successful on passing it. Right of way is a huge component of any driver's test. Who has the right of way to 2-way stop sign, 4-way stop sign, yields, traffic lights, those types of things. And then what is the driving task? What is it that you're doing when you're driving? All right, the 6 components of the driving task are the vehicle, the driver, weather, light, traffic, and the vehicle. These are the 6 components that can come together in any sort of combinations that's going to cause you challenges when you're driving. Okay, there's 4 components for any driver's test, as I mentioned in the introduction. The problem that you're facing with driving is social driving, and it's not antisocial driving behavior. Antisocial driving behavior is when people are doing 80 miles an hour through the city. That is antisocial driving behavior. I had a couple people saying that on the social driving video that I did last week on the topic. They're social driving. People are out there, they're getting along, they're doing what they need to do in the roadway. It's not antisocial, but what they're doing in the arena of social driving is not safe. And it's not that it's going to cause a crash today, tomorrow, next month, next year. It's going to cause a crash in 5 or 6 years. We know that the average driver is going to have a crash 3 or 4 times in a 30, 40 year driving career. So most people think that what they're doing in the arena of social driving is safe, when in fact it's not. And if you want to be a safer, smarter driver after you pass your driver's test first time, then you have to create space around your vehicle, because if you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit anything. Speed management, the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less for the purposes of your driver's test. You need to observe a forward scanning pattern, looking far down the road. Far down the road, in checking your instrument panel, checking your wing mirrors. Far down the road, in checking your center mirrors. So that's your forward scanning pattern. That is tied into your speed control, because the examiner knows that if you're not adjusting your speed, that they know that you're not observing correctly when you're driving. Reversing, you have to have a 360-degree scan around your vehicle. And you have to be looking out through the back window. You can use a backup camera, you can use your mirrors, but for the most part of backing up, you have to be looking out through the back window. Communicating effectively with other traffic. The number one way that we communicate with other traffic is the position of our vehicle on the roadway, our signals and lights, eye contact, hand gestures, and the last way that we communicate with other traffic is communication. We communicate effectively, the other last way is with horn. We want to use the horn sparingly because it's seen as a sign of aggression in North American culture, okay? Learning to drive faster, focus on parallel parking, 3-point turns, reverse parking, 2-point reverse turns, and U-turns. And I will tell you right now that the majority of students don't do this, okay? They get out, they drive around in a forward motion for 6 to 8 weeks, and they go and do their driver's test, and the last 2 days they practice their parallel parking and their 3-point turns. You're doing it completely backwards, because any monkey can hold the steering wheel of a car and go straight down the road, okay? Any monkey can do that. I could teach a 4-year-old to do that, okay? If you want to be a better, safer, smarter driver, practice your slow speed maneuvers. Start with your parallel parking, your 3-point turns, backing into a parking space. If you do this, I guarantee you that you will be a better driver, a safer driver, and a smarter driver overall in a shorter amount of time. So do not put this aside until the last first or second day, because you're just going to become one of the crappy drivers like everybody else on the roadway and participating in the arena of social driving. Okay, requirements of a road test: holding the vehicle in your lane, observing and shoulder checking. You have to respond to changing driving conditions. This is why I put up the video on chance events, unexpected events that could happen on your driver's test, because traffic conditions are going to be changing all the time. They're not going to be the same. One day you'll go down a roadway and it'll be perfectly fine and you just go clear sailing, all green lights. The next day you go down there, there'll be traffic, there'll be a car hauler unloading cars, there'll be yellow lights and red lights and those types of things that are going to challenge you. If you cannot deal with the traffic situation, simply stop. Do not push forward, because oftentimes if you push forward into a situation that you can't handle, you will be guaranteed that you will fail your driver's test. Emergency vehicles are another unexpected event that you could possibly cause you to fail your driver's test. Not being able to move through an intersection completely and you're sitting in the intersection and the light turns yellow or red, you will fail your driver's test. And on a left-hand turn, lots of drivers come back to me and say, when I post that question about blocking an intersection, they'll say, well, what if I'm making a left-hand turn and I'm sitting in the intersection? I guarantee you, as a new driver, you simply do not have the experience to be able to move through that intersection efficiently, you're going to fail your driver's test if you're sitting in the driver's test and the light turns yellow, because you're going to hesitate. And as soon as you hesitate about what do I do? Do I sit here or do I go? That's when you fail your driver's test. So please don't come back to me and say, oh, I failed my driver's test because you said I could turn on a yellow light. I didn't say you could turn on a yellow light. I said wait at the edge of the intersection when the light turns yellow and there's a gap on the other side of the intersection and you're certain, absolutely positive that the traffic has come to a stop, then you execute your turn quickly and efficiently, or you will fail your driver's test. Abilities for a driver's test: 2 hands on the steering wheel for the duration of the test, stopping in a line of traffic, back 1 vehicle length, stopping at the correct position at controlled intersections, behind the stop line, the crosswalk, or the sidewalk. If those 2 conditions don't exist, then the edge of the intersection just before entering the box of the intersection. You need to deal with yellow traffic lights. Where do I stop? And of course, yellow traffic lights are not something that's going to happen on every training session when you're out driving around. It might happen once every 10th driving lesson that you're out. Okay, you need to know the difference between controlled and uncontrolled intersections. There are very few uncontrolled intersections. Unless you're in some backwater one-horse town, there's not going to be uncontrolled intersections. The only somewhat uncontrolled intersection that you're going to get is that major road to a minor road where there are no traffic lights, signs, or signals on the major road and you're turning onto a minor road. You need to understand right of way and who goes first. And again, if you don't understand what right of way is, then you need to stop until the traffic situation changes. Slow speed maneuvers. After 2 or 3 weeks of driving and getting out on the roadway, go back and revisit your parallel parking, your reverse stall parking, your 3-point turn, your 2-point reverse turn, okay? Again, this will make you a safer, smarter driver and you will learn to drive faster. So focus on these fundamentals. Driving lessons. I do encourage you to take driving lessons with a professional driving instructor. He or she teaches new drivers to pass a driver's test every time. You can take individual classes, you can take a mock road test, or you can take whole classes. If you're taking a mock road test, just call them up and say, listen, I'd like you to take me out and assess my driving in preparation for a driver's test. Don't ask them for a mock driver's test. They're not going to know what you're talking about. Just say you want them to assess your ability to pass a driver's test, and they'll take you out for 90 minutes. The other bonus of this is they will take you on the test routes in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your test. They won't tell you that they're doing that because they can't do that according to the professional code of conduct, but they will take you on the same routes and they will show you where the driving examiners do their slow speed maneuvers, which area, and those types of things. In the 6 months when you have your learner's test, try and get as much practice as you can driving cars. Practice in different vehicles and practice in different environments. Because if you get in the car and you take your driver's test and you say, oh, the driving examiner made me nervous and I failed my driver's test, that's not on the driving examiner. That's on you because you didn't get enough practice. If you can get in the car with your uncle, you can get in the car with your neighbor and drive, this is going to make you less anxious on the day that you go and take your driver's test. You're going to be less intimidated by a grumpy driving examiner, okay? Because your job is to take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. You need to focus on what you're doing and pass your driver's test. All right? The good, the bad, and the ugly of driver's tests. Sometimes good drivers who should pass their driver's test fail, and drivers that shouldn't pass a driver's test do in fact pass. It depends on all the road conditions, whether everything goes right or wrong that day. So if you fail your driver's test, it's not a reflection of your ability to drive. So my advice to you is take a day, be down, eat Doritos, sit on the couch, watch reruns of Breaking Bad, cry your eyes out, do whatever you need to do whatever thing that we do when we're upset. The next day, book your next driver's test, get back on the horse and do it again. Okay, practice driving test 3 weeks out, have 7 to 10 days before the test. And of course, we're coming into summertime. The DMVs are incredibly busy. So if you don't have a driver's test book right now, it's probably pretty hard that you're going to get one this month. You'll probably get one next month in August. Luck favors the prepared. I suggest to you, practice and pass first time, because if you don't do it right the first time, when are you going to find time to do it again? Okay? You don't want to have to rebuild your confidence. So take a practice driving test before you go in. Look at the videos with Charlie. Corey will put those up for you as well. Corey took driving lessons with me, and he took driving lessons with another driving instructor before going down for his driver's test. Do you think Charlie was successful first time? Yes, he was. And Charlie tells a funny story about the examiner in Salmon Arm with the monocle. That if you got the examiner with the monocle, you were going to fail your driver's test. Well, I got to tell you, I can't remember the last time I saw somebody wearing a monocle. So he was successful. Luck favors the prepared. Learn the basics. Master parallel parking, backing into a parking spot, 3-point turns. For anybody taking a driver's test, your 3 fundamentals of driving are 3-point turns, backing into a parking space, and parallel parking. There's only 3 states in the United States that I know of that don't do parallel parking. That's California, sometimes Utah, Ohio, and Maryland. Maryland requires a 2-point reverse turn, which is backing around a corner. Ohio has the Ohio maneuverability test, which students absolutely detest, but I will guarantee you that drivers in Ohio are better drivers than the other 49 states. California, backing up along a curb for approximately 50 feet in a straight line back motion, okay? You must master the basics. Prepare for the opportunity of passing your driver's test first time. Test day. Show up 20 minutes to 30 minutes before your test is scheduled. Back into the parking spot where there is reserved spaces for the people taking their tests. If not, just park on the road. I know that in New York City and those types of places, other big metropolitan places, that they do not have office space, that they do not have spaces where you back into the parking space, so you just wait on the roadway. Go in, check in, maybe in New York City where you park along the road, you get a text or something like that. But bring your documentation, bring your license, bring another piece of identification, bring money. It costs money to take the driver's test. It costs money for them to administer you a license. Back into the parking stall. Know that when the examiner comes out, he or she will say hi, give you a little greeting. They will get in the car. They will do a mini pre-trip inspection. They will check the lights, check the horn. They will, what else will they get you to do? Left and right signal. They may or may not ask you about documentation, registration, ownership for the vehicle. They want to make sure that the vehicle is safe. So make sure that you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle the night before you go down for your driver's test as well. Check that the seat is working on the passenger side, the seat belt. If you're going with a driving school, ask the driving examiner, ask the driving instructor whether he or she did a pre-trip inspection on the vehicle, because you don't want to be denied your driver's test for something simple like a brake light out or whatnot. Okay? Signal going out of the parking lot when you leave, and keep going until the examiner tells you to stop, because sometimes it might be just a minor error that you made and you're going to get all in your head about it. Just take a breath. I'm driving well, I'm driving safe, I'm going to pass my driver's test, and keep going. All right, take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Nothing less, nothing more. And this is a picture of Charlie here after he was successful in passing his driver's test. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. And we're back. Had some technical challenges there again. I'm not sure what's going on. I know with my technical challenges that I need to restart the computer, and I need not to touch anything with it after I restart it. I got to get it going. The monocle story, and the funniest thing that he did to stop for the birds. Yes, Ross, and that was completely funny. The monocle story is hilarious because I don't know, maybe somebody here, maybe a smart driver on the live stream, or maybe somebody after, watching on the replay has seen somebody with a monocle. I can't say I've ever seen anybody wearing a monocle in the 21st century. So good stuff there. Colton, the buggy has reached 400,000 K. Yes, it has. 248,000 miles on the buggy. I'm having some challenges with the buggy right now because it's losing oil. And I'm saying losing oil. I changed all the seals in the center seal, which is, you've got the main seal on the one end of the motor that hooks up to the transmission, and then the center seal is on the other end of the motor, which hooks up to the timing belt. So I've replaced that seal and all the cam seals because my driveway looks like an oil field. I was losing oil out of the buggy, and so I took it in, I got all the seals replaced, which was kind of a bummer because it was just 2 years ago that I had the timing belt done, and I could have had the center seal done at the same time. So I took it in. I had all the seals done because I was losing oil, but it's still burning. It's still losing oil. It's not burning oil, because when it's burning oil, you take off and you get a big plume of smoke out of the back of the muffler. So it's not burning oil, but it's losing oil. And the last 4,000K, I put like 5 quarts of oil in it. So, it's like every time I go out, I put a half a liter oil in it every time I drive it, which is crazy. So, I'm going to take it down to a different shop, which is they rebuild engines, and I'm going to have them have a look at it and see what's going on and see if they figure out where the oil's going, because I don't know. Ross, my car is 41,000K and it's a 2020 Ford Escape. Yeah, so it's got a while to go yet to catch up to the buggy there, Rawson. Corey set up the Ohio maneuverability recently. I agree, it may be the best exercise I can do. It's a more comprehensive test learning tool than even just parallel parking. You're absolutely right, Corey. I really like the Ohio maneuverability test. I really like it, and if I had more time, I would be lobbying governments to put it in place as a mandatory component of the test. Replace the parallel parking and do the Ohio maneuverability test, because it can be done in a closed circuit space where there aren't any other vehicles around. Driving examiners don't have to look for a spot to parallel park. I mean, yes, parallel parking can be done in a parking lot too with cones, but the Ohio maneuverability test, I just think, is a really good test of skill and ability for new drivers, and it's a great learning tool. So I totally agree. And yeah, I came around soon after the first couple of live streams, fall 2017. I just got my license with the channel's videos, a huge help. That's awesome. So 2017, so you've been 6 years here. That's just crazy, Corey. 6 years? 7 years. 7 years, yes. Oh my God. Colton, core horns are nice, but it'd be nice to have a bell for alerting people at slow speeds without startling pedestrians and cyclists. Horns can be a bit loud for those situations. Yes, indeed. Colton, I can't agree more. On my bicycle and whatnot, and people honking horns behind me, that just drives me nuts. Colton, could be a bad drain bolt. No, Colton, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. The other piece that they did with the buggy is that we took the oil pan off. We resealed the oil pan. Seal Right, I think it's called, this goop now. They don't even put a gasket on it. It's just this Seal Right stuff that they put on the oil pan. And we put a new drain plug in it, so it's not leaking at the drain plug. I know it was leaking at the drain plug for a while there. It was like dripping out of the drain plug, so we replaced the drain plug because it used to be 17 millimeters and now it's 16 millimeter wrench, which I got to remember before going under there and changing the oil. So we've done all that. We've put dye in the oil, right? We've hit it with a black light. We're trying to figure out where the oil leak is on the buggy. And then the other day I was talking to my brother, who, as you know, is an automotive technician, i.e. a mechanic, and he's like, oh, you can ship it back to Ontario. If it's got bad rings, we can rebuild the engine. I'll send it to the machine shop. And I'm just like, really? Like, I want to spend $5,000 or $6,000 keeping the buggy running? I just don't know if I want to do a complete engine overhaul, because you get in there and you pull the engine out, then it's not the engine, it's an engine rebuild, and then it's a clutch because it's due for a clutch. And if you got the engine out, you might as well do the clutch. What else are we going to do in there? Well, everything else pretty much has been done on it. So I don't know. It's crazy, but interesting. I drive an old 1998 Honda CR-V, and as you know, I may have told you this in the last couple of weeks, I bought my mom a van. Because I got involved with a friend who was buying and selling vehicles, and I just love buying and selling vehicles. I think it's great fun. Anyway, the long and short of it is, bought my mom a van. I was talking about this last week, a Pontiac Montana van. Kevin, we won't even talk about that. How to cheat on a driver's test? Do the work, pass your driver's test. So we bought my mom a van, a Pontiac Montana. I drove it to Kelowna today, up the highway. And you know something? I prefer my 1998 Honda CR-V. That old Pontiac has a marshmallow suspension, and I don't like it. I don't like marshmallow suspensions when you feel like you're riding on a pillow, driving a car. A car is not supposed to be a pillow. It's not a pillow. Pontiac, Chevy. And, the Cadillacs used to be like that in the 1950s, and those marshmallow suspensions killed a lot of people. they killed a lot of people. Does anybody know, watching now, or anybody on the replay know what a marshmallow suspension is? It's when it kind of floats, when it goes around corners and it kind of floats, and I'm just like, I don't like that feeling. I want my car to be tight. I want it to be tight. I don't want it to be back-breaking tight, like Tracy's Audi, because Tracy's Audi has a lowered suspension in it. It's got 20-inch low pros on it. The tire, the sidewall on the tire is like this high. It's not that tight, but when I go around a corner, I want to know that this thing is leaning into it. So, there we go. Corey's put up the much watched videos for passing your driver's test. So gasket maker didn't help, and add drain plug is good. Could be the head gasket, oil pump, or cylinder head. It's not these. I'm out of ideas. Yeah, Colton, I don't know. Like I said, I took it in. They did the seals. It was leaking. So talking about vehicles, I had 3 things happen, right? That you got to take the vehicle back. So we took the buggy in, changed all the center seal, the cam seals, and everything else. I brought it home, and it's still like just pouring oil. So it was the valve cover gasket didn't seal right. So I took it back in. They fixed that, stopped oil leaking. Then I had the pickup truck. Oh, and at the same time they fixed the head, the valve cover gasket head, and it was leaking oil. They recharged the air conditioning in the buggy. Yes, the air conditioning still works in the buggy. So they recharged the air conditioning. So then I had the 2006 3/4 ton Chevy Silverado that I was trying to sell, and I did sell it. But I took it in, and they had to fix the seal in the back. It's called the pinion seal. So I'm looking at the truck sitting in the driveway, and it's leaking oil out of the differential where the pinion seal is. So I had to take that back in and get them to fix the pinion seal. Then 2 weeks later, I turned the air conditioning on because it had been cold here, so the air conditioning hadn't been working in the buggy. So then the air conditioning's not working. I had to take the buggy back in and get the air conditioning charged again. It's still working, so I don't know whether it's leaking or not. But again, if it stops working, then, we put dye in it. So then again, we can hit it with the flashlight, the black light, and have a look and see. But can't figure out where the oil is going in the buggy. And I park it in the garage, and I put poster paper under it to make sure that it's not leaking while it's sitting there. So it's not leaking anywhere. And I've had it back into the shop, and Doug, my automotive technician, my mechanic, has said to me that it's not leaking oil. So here's the challenges of driving an older vehicle. Rawson, what's your opinion on automatic transmission vehicles? Rawson, as you know, I've had the buggy for 10 years. It's a 5-speed manual transmission. I had another 1997 Honda CR-V before that. It was a 5-speed. And I drove the van today. It's got an automatic transmission in it with the marshmallow suspension. And I'm like, this is boring. Boring. It's not driving. It's just not driving. Nerd on Wheels going on a West Coast road trip up to Vegas from Lower Mainland in my Chevy Traverse. Oil, vehicle, air, tires, alignment are checked, and that is awesome. That is a great thing. That's what you want to do. Now, Nerd on Wheels. One other thing that I want you to do, because I did this last night. As you know, the Pontiacs and the Chevys have this winch system for the spare tire. It's up underneath the vehicle on a winch that lowers it up and down. Check to make sure that you can get the spare tire out from underneath there. And this is what I did with the van last night. I climbed under there, I pulled all the jack out and the tools, and made sure that I could get the spare tire down. Excuse me. And I took the spare tire down, made sure it came off, and I pumped it up to the 60 pounds recommended pressure. And then I put it all back, right? Because the Chevy Silverado that I just sold, we actually had to cut out the spare tire with an acetylene torch because it wouldn't come out. It had seized up in there because when you crank the spare tire back up underneath the vehicle, there's a lock on it, and the lock had seized and it wouldn't lower the spare tire down. So you don't want to find out on your road trip there down to Las Vegas whether that you can get the spare tire out or not. So make sure that you do it in your driveway at home to figure out if you can get that goofy spare tire down, because you don't want to be on the side of the road trying to figure out how to get that spare tire down. So try and do that in your driveway, because I'll tell you right now, gloves, hammers, tools, all that stuff. I was up there spraying it and pulling it down yesterday. And so make sure that, for anybody who doesn't know how to change a tire, if you're going on a road trip and you don't have BCAA or you don't have CAA, the Automobile Association of America, the BCA, the memberships for these things are only about $100. They'll change a tire for you if you don't know how to do it. But Corey will put up the video for you on how to change a tire. But do that as well as part of your checks on your vehicle, because I'm driving my mom's van back to Ontario, 4,000 kilometers, and it does have a spare tire. I just wanted to make sure that it all worked, because I don't want to get towed in because of a goofy spare tire that I can't get down. And as I said, on that Silverado, we had to cut it out with an acetylene torch, so we couldn't get it out. And of course, it went back in the box, which is a good place for it to live. Colton, the winch is how the spare on our 2014 Dodge Ram 1500 Bighorn crew cab works, and we may have only used it once. Yes, and Colton, again, I do suggest, once a year, every couple of years, you just winch it down, spray the whole thing with oil or some lubricant so that it doesn't seize up, so that if you do get into an emergency, because I couldn't imagine, being out on the side of the interstate at 1 o'clock in the morning, getting a flat tire and then trying to get that stupid thing down out of there. It's just, what a nightmare. So Nerd on Wheels, thanks. I do have BCAA. That's awesome. So you're set. You're good to go. When they check the tires for your road trip, make sure that you get the recommended air pressure in the spare tire as well, because in the owner's manual, it may be a different pressure unless you have a solid spare tire, which many new cars have as a space saver. But on the van, the Pontiac Montana, my mom's van, tire pressure is 35 PSI all the way around, pounds per square inch. And then the spare tire was 60 pounds per square inch. So I got it down, I put the right pressure in it, and then I cranked it back up. And of course I lubed the craziness out of it, because those things are not fun to get out of there. Mallory, may have to come to a complete stop at a four-way stop sign intersection, especially for your driver's test. And Corey will put up the video for coming to a complete stop. If you're doing your driver's test, the body has to rest back on the chassis of the vehicle to come to a complete stop. And if you're not sure that you are actually at a complete stop for the purposes of your driver's test, simply count to 2. 1, 2. And then go, and you'll know that your vehicle is in fact stopped before you take off from the stop sign, because it's what you need to do for the purposes of stopping at a stop sign on your driver's test. Brian, have a safe and fun trip to Las Vegas, my former home. Just watch out for red light runners, as they are becoming too common. Yes, indeed. Colton, we only use the truck during deer season, and the truck usually needs a jump start. We have a new battery, but we haven't put it in yet. Excellent. Rosin, a flashlight red light is the same thing as a stop sign. Yes, it is. And what Rawson just said, he's talking about flashing red lights accompanying a stop sign. When you have a flashing red light at an intersection, it indicates a high-risk intersection. They would not put in the infrastructure if it was not a high-risk intersection where there had been significant crashes at that intersection. So if you're coming up to an intersection, it has a stop sign, and there is a flashing red light over the intersection, come to a complete stop. Take extreme caution moving through that intersection, because you don't want to be T-boned at that intersection when you're making a turn there. All right, Corey's put up the video for how to make a complete stop. So thank you for that, Corey. Excellent. Yes. Okay, so 4 components on a driver's test that you need to have in place. Corey's put up the playlist here in the comments, so have a look for that. 4 must-have driving skills, the playlist there. Automatic fails, major mistakes on a driving test, and chance events. Turning right on a red light, talking about coming to a complete stop at red lights. Okay? New York City, the 5 boroughs, the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. You cannot turn right on a red light unless the sign says that it is permitted. To make a right on a red light, you must come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position, behind the stop line, behind the sidewalk, or the crosswalk, or behind the crosswalk, the sidewalk. If those two conditions don't exist, then at the edge of the road. Now, at a red light, it's just going to be a stop line. You're going to stop behind the stop line, give way to all pedestrians, move forward to the edge of the intersection, give way to all other traffic, and then proceed when the way is clear. If it is busy, traffic is busy on a driver's test, yes, you can wait for the green light. If it's not busy, then you have to proceed, okay, for the purposes of a driver's test. Carrick, Baltimore, Maryland, passing my pre-trip inspection. Carrick, which class of license are you going for your pre-trip inspection? Are we talking about a tractor trailer? Are we talking about a bus or a straight truck, my friend? Brian, traveling the slow lane as much as possible on the freeways, and drunk drivers often travel on the roads in the wrong way. They will usually be traveling in passing lanes. As well, Brian, the other time that drunk drivers are going to be active is usually at night, around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, those types of things. They're more prevalent, especially on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. There are other times that it could be, but not likely, okay? So know that it's time sensitive as well. Not sensitive, but it's going to be a certain time that you're more likely to encounter drunk drivers. Carrick, Class A pre-trip inspection. Corey will put up the video for you on the pre-trip inspection for the Class 1. Have a look at that video. And if you have any questions or whatnot, Carrick, leave us a comment. I try and check the comments every day to answer that. So have a look at that as well. If you need more than that for tractor trailer, there is a fast course over at the Smart Drive Test website, and you can get a written PDF of the exact language that you have to use to be able to pass your pre-trip inspection. So you can get that over there. I think it's about $25 US. And like I said, you can get that PDF form and you just go through it check by check. Now, pre-trip inspection, make sure that you're following your path of travel around the vehicle, okay? And I know that you're probably going to truck driving school. They're teaching you a certain way, but follow that same path every time, okay? And then top to bottom, left to right. So follow the sequence for the purposes of doing your pre-trip inspection so that you remember everything. The only part that you need to memorize is the in-cab stuff. That's your toughest part of your CDL pre-trip inspection. And Corey's put up the video for you there. So CDL pre-trip inspection, that's over at that's the playlist there. And there is a video in there that's specifically just the pre-trip inspection. So have a look at that and let me know if you have any questions. Epic, be aware in New York City, beside the red light cameras, they've been fitting buses with bus lane violation cameras, and not many drivers from outside New York City notice because they might try making right turns. Yes, okay. So they're putting in ways to police drivers that are making rights on red turns. And as well, for those of you in the state of New York, the city of New York City, city of New York City, city, New York City, city. I said city too many times. Have a look at the playlist. I went down to New York. I was in the Bronx with my friend Sam, Big Mac Sam, and we did a mock driver's test. Unfortunately, I didn't pass the driver's test because I made a right on a red turn because I did what I trained to do. And this is what I tell you all the time. Practice in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your driver's test at the time that you're going to be taking your driver's test to simulate the traffic that you're going to encounter on the day that you're taking your driver's test, okay? So if you're taking your driver's test on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, practice during the week at 10 o'clock in the morning in and around the test center, okay? Because that was the mistake that I made. Well, it's not really the mistake that I made. What I did was I just went into the driver's test cold. I didn't practice, right? I knew in my head that you couldn't make a right on a red light in the Bronx. However, I've been driving for many years North America and other places that I just come up and make a right on a red turn. Now, when I was driving in Spain, you can't make a right on a red light. So then I just knew that I had to stop and wait, right? So I did that. But on a driver's test, as I got distracted, as I've told you this story before, we were going down this road and there was a car on the side of the road because space is limited. So services, timber mills and auto shops and those types of things, they work out on the roadways, and there was a car sitting on the side of the road on jack stands, and I got distracted. I'm like, oh look, there's a car on jack stands with no wheels on it. How interesting is that? And I got distracted by the car and come up to the light. It was red, stopped, and then looked, made sure there was nobody there, and went around the corner. Sam started laughing, and he's like, well, you just failed your driver's test, and that's what happened. Elevator fan, I saw a truck that said on the outside that if I just passed on the right side, you were an idiot. Yes, and the other thing they'll do, elevator fan, is on the back of the truck, they'll have two signs. They'll have one on the right side that says suicide, and they'll have one on the left side that says passing side. So passing side, suicide. Ross, and some good drivers fail their road test because of bad luck. Yes, they do. Or situations, Ross, and just go wrong. Everything goes wrong on their driver's test. And, you know, drivers taking a test don't have a high level of skill to be able to handle certain situations. So, for example, they come up and they're right on top of a yellow light, and they jam on the brakes and put the examiner up against the seatbelt, and the examiner will say, well, you should have probably gone through that, right? Because you were too close to the intersection. So there's those types of situations, or there's a vehicle and they just don't know what to do or how to move around it, or they're encountered with double solid lines and they've got to pass the vehicle, and they're like, oh, I can't get over double solid lines. So then they freeze up and they don't know what to do. Yes, you did, Big Mac Sam. How are you, my friend? There is my friend, Big Mac Sam. So you have questions about passing your driver's test in New York City or the Bronx, ask my friend, Big Mac Sam. He is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Elevator fan, I'll be going to Kentucky next month. Do you have any good tips for driving through any big cities? Yes, I do, Elevator fan. Driving through big cities. Plan it so you're not going during rush hour. So 7 to 10 in the morning, avoid that time. If you can go 10 to 3 through big cities, that's going to be much better for you. If you can go after 7 o'clock at night, again, that's going to be easier for you moving through big cities. Now, a lot of big cities in the U.S. are going to have ring roads. So Atlanta, Georgia, Louisville, Kentucky, these big cities are going to have ring roads, and you can go around and avoid the center of the city. So that's one of the things you can do moving through the cities in the States. Now, me personally, I used to drive through Cincinnati, Ohio all the time, and Cincinnati, Ohio has a ring road way out of the way. Of course, every time I was going south to Florida through Cincinnati, Ohio, I just went through the center of Cincinnati, Ohio. And of course, it was more interesting the ring road too, because the ring road is way out in the suburbs and often out of the way. So, you know, just run through town. Colton, hi to Scott from the channel Kentucky Ballistics. Have you seen him? Awesome. Nerd on Wheels. Most people learn and get license in one state and then travel all over. State should be put up a sign, hey, we do these things different. Nerd on Wheels. Driving is driving. Driving is driving. I've been all over the world. I've driven in Australia, in Europe, the United States, in Canada, England. Driving is driving. It's really not that different. And people say that it is. I have yet to be to a place where it's really crazy. I mean, I've been to China, Beijing and Shanghai, and yeah, it's a bit different there. And you do have to do that pushing thing where you just hold your line, pick your course, and go, and this is where I'm going. And other people will move around you and those types of things. But, you know, driving is driving, and it's not really that different in any other state. I mean, there's some different things, and Cora put up the video about driving in Montreal. Their traffic lights are a little bit different, and I am convinced that the way that Montreal sets up their traffic lights should be adopted by other urban centers, because it gives lead time to pedestrians so that they're not in your blind area for people who are turning right at intersections. It gets them out into the middle of the intersection and in front of other drivers to keep them safer. So Montreal, their traffic light system should be adopted by other urban centers. Carrick, can you send me something pointing to each part so I can identify with it and what it looks like? Carrick, if you go through that video, I will tell you in that video every part and component of the vehicle. Which components, Carrick, are you having problems with on the vehicle? Which ones are giving you grief that you're not able to understand or don't know what it is? And I can probably give you an explanation of what that is. Colton, the biggest difference in driving around the world is when you finally find a place where it's faster to walk. Colton, there are some of those places for sure. I've been in those places. Downtown Manhattan, I'm sure that there are places in Delhi that it's faster to walk. London has places that are faster to walk. Some places that I just love getting on public transport. For example, London. I love riding the tube in London and the buses. It's way faster than having a car. It's the same thing in New York City. I'm sure if you're in Manhattan, it's way faster to take the subway than it is to take a car. You know, any place that has an L, any place that has a subway, you know, I prefer taking a car. And it's a great story about this. Last summer, we were visiting our friends in Montreal, our dear friends in Montreal, who are getting married this year. And we went down to Old Montreal. And of course, I had rented a car. And so we all climbed in the car and we went there. And I said, you know, we're driving there. And then, of course, we get stuck in just crazy traffic. And we weren't going anywhere. And I said to my friends who don't own a car, they take public transit in Montreal. And I said to them, I said, how hard is it to get down here on the metro? And they said, oh, it's super easy. It's like one line. I was like, why are we driving then? And they said to me, well, people who have cars like driving. I'm like, no, I don't. I said, I would much prefer in a big city to get on the metro than to drive my car. Because by the time we drove down there, it took us an hour and a half to drive down there, and then it was $35 to park. So we might as well have just taken the metro and walked. I would have been much, much happier than driving the car. Elevator fan, I'm going near Indianapolis, Indiana on my way to Kentucky. Yeah, so elevator fan, you know, just plan it so you're there after 9 o'clock in the morning when you're going through Indianapolis. You know, plan your route out, and you'll be golden, my friend. You'll be golden, and you know, because the interstate system in the U.S. is awesome. You'll be great. Excellent. Rawson says he could go to Cincinnati for a vacation. Yes, and it is a great place. Also going to Wisconsin next month, and I'll be in Wisconsin the end of July, 1st of August there as well. So yes. So passing your driver's test. 4 components on a driver's test: space management, speed management, observation, and communication. This is what you need to be in place to be successful on your driver's test. Space management. If you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. All right, 2 to 3 second following distance at all times. Stop in traffic 1 vehicle length back. Your marker for that is being able to see the tires of the vehicle in front, making clear contact with the pavement. Stop at the correct stopping position at intersections, behind the stop line, behind the crosswalk line, or sidewalk. If those 2 conditions don't exist, then at the edge of the intersection just before entering the intersection. Speed management, flow of traffic, or the posted speed limit, whichever is less. And don't dawdle. When you turn corners, get the vehicle up to speed as quickly as possible. Communication. 5 ways we communicate with other traffic: the position of our vehicle on the roadway, position of road users on the roadway. If they're near a crosswalk, there's a high probability they're going to cross the roadway. Pedestrians, cyclists, motorcycles, where are they looking? If they're on a traffic island and they're looking that way, they're going to cross the road that way. If they're looking this way, they're going to cross the road this way. Okay, so take note of where the pedestrian, where the road user, the cyclist, or the motorcycle rider is looking when you're communicating and driving. Position of the vehicle, lights and signals, eye contact, hand gestures. Lastly, the horn for a form of communication, because it's seen as a sign of aggression in North America. Observation, forward scanning pattern, looking far down the road. Check your center mirror, far down the road, instrument panel, far down the road, and then check your wing mirrors. That's your forward scanning pattern. Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. It is the number one reason that drivers accumulate too many errors and fail their driver's test. So 2 times for every turn, 2 times for changing lanes, shoulder checking, looking around when you're backing up. Backing up, out through the back window. You can use your mirrors, you can use a backup camera, but you cannot use it as your main line of sight. You have to be looking out through the back window for the duration of your backing up. And every vehicle or anything, don't stop, but just kind of pause, have a quick look around, and make sure the traffic situation hasn't changed when you're reversing. Lex, your video has helped me pass my first time. I was too afraid for 5 years to even attempt. I am so happy to have finally this freedom. Lex, that is awesome. Congratulations on your tenacity. Congratulations on passing your driver's test, my friend. That is tremendous news. Thank you for stopping back and letting us know. Corey, the main video in the playlist also has YouTube timestamps featuring within for more compartmentalized overview as well. CDL pre-trip inspection test class A. Yes. So know that what Corey just said, and I've had this comment a number of times on my videos. If I'm talking too fast, because I know I get excited and I really, really want to say what I'm going to say, and I talk fast. And if English is not your first language, then yes, it can be definitely challenging to keep up. You can slow down the video in the YouTube interface. Okay, you can slow it down. As well, most of the videos, almost all of the videos on the channel here have closed captions. So turn on the closed caption as well so you can follow along, and it's easier to do that. And as Corey said, I spend a lot of time putting up chapters and timestamps so you knew which section to go to. Okay, so the top 10 automatic fails on a driver's test, there are timestamps telling you the first automatic fail, the second automatic fail, third automatic fail. It's the same with 10 chance events, top 10 mistakes on a driver's test. So look at those when you're looking at the videos and move through them. All right. And as well, I try and check comments every day. If you have a question, I try and answer the questions every day as best I can. If I don't get to your question within a couple of days, send me a reminder, send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest, and I'll try and get back to you punctually. But if I don't get to you, keep bugging me. I'm busy. I got a lot of things to do, right? I'm running the YouTube channel, the business, my kids, those types of things. So do that. Mallory, don't turn left onto the street. You turn left onto when there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk. Yes, absolutely. What Mallory just said about turning left. 3 things to keep track of when you're making a left-hand turn. You got to keep track of the traffic light. Make sure it doesn't turn yellow or red on you. You have to look for your gap in the oncoming traffic, and you have to look at pedestrians and other vulnerable road users on the cross street. And on some complex intersections, you also have to keep track of that slip lane over on that far side to make sure that somebody isn't turning right into your lane on the other side there. Busy at complex intersections when you're making left-hand turns. So what Mallory just said about vulnerable road users on that left side, and this is the other reason I advocate that you stay back at the edge of the intersection. You keep hazards and obstructions in front of your vehicle, not in your flanks. If you're out in the intersection and there are pedestrians on that cross street, they're now in your flank. Basic military maneuver to win a war, to win a battle rather, is don't let the opposing forces into your flanks. Don't let them outflank you, because that's how they're going to win. So, same thing with driving a car. Keep hazards and obstructions in front of your vehicle, and that's why we advocate and we teach staying back at the edge of the intersection so you can keep track of those vulnerable road users on the cross street at the intersection when preparing to make a left-hand turn. Elevator fan, I'll be driving through the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois on my way to Wisconsin, and you can stop in Milwaukee where they make beer. Awesome. Colton, why can something with 3 wheels be a motorcycle when it has a steering wheel, but something with 4 wheels can't be with handlebars? I don't know, Colton. You have to look at the manufacturing legislation about different vehicles. But the one that I find really funny is those reverse motorcycles with the 2 wheels on the front and the 1 wheel on the back. I find those strange. That's the word I'm going to use. I find them strange. Brian, be careful for bicyclists on the left side who can't see due to your door frame. I almost hit a cyclist who did not walk his bike across the roadway. Yes, and this is why we shoulder check left when we're moving left, and we shoulder check right when we're turning right, to look for vulnerable road users and cyclists. All the way to Milwaukee. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, elevator fan. Milwaukee's great. It's awesome. It's where Laverne and Shirley came from. Emily, I was waiting to make a left turn at the light, and a black Mercedes came up so fast from behind, almost 60 kilometers an hour in a 40, and nearly rear-ended me. I felt the car shake when they passed me. It was scary. Well, we're happy to hear that you are okay, Emily, and that you're not injured. Klaus, my friend, I tuned in too late for the 1:45 a.m. See you next week. Klaus, no. 10 o'clock tomorrow, 7 p.m. your time. I'm doing another live stream. I moved it to Wednesday this week because I had some appointments this morning and I couldn't do it this morning. So, Klaus, I'll see you tomorrow morning It'll be my morning at 10 o'clock. It'll be your evening at 7 p.m. So I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Okay, my friend? Some of these reverse trikes look good. Others are ugly. Okay, Colton, I'm going to disagree with you just a wee little bit. Those reverse trikes? No. They look dumb. They just look dumb. I'm sorry. I don't like them. I understand the reasoning that people have mobility issues and those types of things and they can't hold up a bike and those types of things. But I think they look goofy. I just think they look goofy. But that's my 2 cents. And that's just my personal opinion. And I have lots of opinions. And, you know, I think maybe they're awesome. Maybe they're awesome. I don't know. So, driver's test. Take away the driving examiner's right to fail you. Your job is to demonstrate that to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all you need to do, okay? And if you get a grumpy old driving examiner, as sometimes will happen, say to yourself, focus. I'm going to take away your right to fail me. You are not going to get in my head. I'm going to do what I need to do to pass my driver's test. Focus on the slow speed maneuvers, parallel parking, backing into a parking space, and you will be a safer, smarter driver faster, okay? So do that. Be successful on passing your driver's test first time. Nerd, do you ever do in-person meetups or something like that? Would you probably be fun? Nerd, I do. And if you want to do a video, we can get together and we can certainly do that. I would love to do that. Emily, the other day I witnessed a white Porsche speed through a red light with at least 7 pedestrians crossing. Oh my God, yes. And yeah, crashes every day. Happen all the time, Emily. So keep yourself safe. Don't participate in social driving. You will be just awesome. So you passed the driver's test in the last couple of weeks. Congratulations on that. That's awesome. And if you have a test coming up in the next week or so, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.